Thank you. All right, we're going to call this meeting of the, if I can get all of my colleagues to find their seats.
Since you moved everybody, I have to.
I'm at my chair.
Get people.
See what you did?
Yes, I know.
Thank you.
It's like high school.
Hi, you are right down there this time.
Are we good? All right, let's go ahead and call this meeting of the Library Board Authority to order. I'm going to chair this until Mr. Natoli arrives. So, Madam Clerk, would you like to call the roll? I'm going to establish a quorum.
Darren Soon.
Here.
Daryl Wu.
Present.
Linda Budge.
Here.
Phil Cerna. Jeff Slowey.
Present.
Larry Carr. Don Natoli. Jay Chenier.
Here.
Saul Hernandez.
Here.
Angelique Ashby.
Here.
Sue Frost.
Here.
Eric Guerra.
Here.
Lori Hewer.
Here.
And Alan Warren.
Okay, Ms. Director, do you want to lead us in the pledge?
Wow. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much.
Chair Chenier, I have to read the meeting statement.
Go ahead.
This meeting of the Sacramento Public Library Authority is being videotaped in its entirety and will be cablecast without interruption on Metro Cable 14, the Government Affairs channel on the Comcast Consolidation Communications and AT&T Uverse cable systems, and will be webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. Today's meeting is being shown live and will be repeated at 4 p.m. Saturday, October 28th, and 2 p.m. Monday, October 30th on Channel 14. This meeting is closed caption. A DVD copy will be available for checkout from any library branch no later than 2 weeks following today's meeting. A public copy of the full agenda, including reports, is available for viewing at the back table and is available on the library website at www.saclibrary.org. Members of the audience wishing to address the board should complete a speaker identification form located at the back table and give to the clerk. Please speak into the microphone when addressing the board and state your name for the record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes so that everyone may be heard. In consideration of others, please silence your cell phone at this time.
Great, thank you. We'll move to item 2, public comments on matters not on the agenda. I don't have any speaker slips. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 3. Services to immigrants and refugees. Who is doing this?
I wanted to take the opportunity to have 2 of our stellar staff, our youth services librarians, Molly Malazzo and Vanessa Santano, who've been doing quite a bit of work with refugees and immigrants over the last several months or longer. Just to give you a brief update about the kinds of services that the library offers, I think it's important that you all know that we're part of this too. So you ladies want to come up? They did a great presentation a couple of months ago at our annual Play Summit that received rave reviews, so we thought it would be great for the board to see them as well.
Well, I'm sure today will be better as well, so no pressure. It's nice to have you. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Molly Malazzo. I'm a youth services librarian at the Arcade Library.
And my name is Vanessa Centeno. I was at Arcade. I am now at Colonial Heights.
And we're going to talk to you today about some of the outreach, inreach, and other services we've been working on with immigrants, refugees, special immigrant visa holders, or as I call them collectively, new arrivals in our community. So to start, Arden Arcade, where the Arcade Library is located, has become a major, if not the major, resettlement area for new arrivals in Sacramento County for a number of reasons. We started noticing them at least a couple of years ago when I first arrived, but there's definitely been an uptick in recent months. They were coming into the library because it's so close to where many of them live, and we were honestly struggling to provide them with services in culturally and linguistically competent ways because we had no one on staff who spoke the main languages needed, Arabic, Dari, Pashto, and no one who was experienced in what they were going through. We realized that we needed to build outward and form partnerships and cement further the ones that we already had. So with that in mind, we realized quickly that our audience came from one major part of the world, mainly from the country of Afghanistan, but also from Iran, Iraq, and Syria. And there are a few distinctions that we discovered as well that make a difference in the kind of support and services that these new arrivals receive. Immigrants receive a distinctly different set of benefits and support systems because oftentimes they have more time to prepare for their arrival. They get to choose where they settle. They oftentimes have jobs and other contacts and connections that help them build their new lives here. In contrast, refugees and special immigrant visa holders, who are two distinct groups, fare very differently. They are usually fleeing persecution from their home countries. If they're refugees, they don't get to choose where they're resettled, and the odds of them having contacts here, job prospects, family, friends, any of those root and support systems to help them build their lives here are not necessarily available. And we've come across people from all walks of life. We have talked with people who were doctors, engineers, lawyers in their home countries, and who have brought their degrees with them, but of course they mean almost nothing here without proper steps to translate them and everything. We've also met people who cannot read or write in their native languages. So we've very much been working on ways to meet people where they are, and again, build those partnerships so that we can better serve them.
Building relationships really started for me. I was doing Molly's bilingual story time when she was on vacation, and an ESL group for adults came in with their kids. They came into the story time, and what was bilingual turned into 4 languages. It blew my mind. It was amazing. Obviously, we couldn't meet the needs right then and there, so we scheduled an orientation. We had 60 families show up. It was so successful that it sort of set the foundation for what we're doing today. It was phenomenal. We've also partnered with other community organizations, and I'm going to let Molly talk a little bit about that.
So when we realized especially the linguistic barriers that we were encountering, we fortunately realized that there were other organizations in our immediate area who were working more directly with these new arrivals and who were more than willing to partner with us to help serve them further. One of those organizations was RIHLA, R-I-H-L-A, which focuses mainly on medical education advancement for new arrivals and also their mental health. So with them, they were able to assist with translation and interpretation at library events, which was an enormous help. They helped us bridge the gap between communities and local apartment complexes, people who might have had a misconception of what a public library is, because it's a very, the way it's run in America, it's a very distinctly American institution, the concept of a free public library.
They also went with us into elementary schools. We would go and we'd talk about early literacy, we'd talk about ESL resources for parents, and they would come in with us, and it really connected them mainly with San Juan Unified. And it was just phenomenal. It allowed our partnerships to just boom. So they were not only getting early literacy information, they were also getting information on where to get beds, where to get food, where to get medical. So we kind of covered all bases.
Yes, and with them and with our other partners like the Birth and Beyond Center next door to the Arcade Library, the charter school across the street, we were able to put together events like the Job and Resource Fair, designed with new arrivals in mind, that happened in March of last year, drew about 200 people and all sorts of different employers, and created a new and more accurate idea of what the public library is and what it means for them as one of their support systems. So some of the results Actually,
Oh, okay.
I'm
gonna
new
show
here.
you a
This is a
book.
really cool project that
'Cause we're
Vanessa
youth
did.
services librarians. I'm New Here by Anne Sibley O'Brien. This book is phenomenal. If you haven't read it, go to the library and check it out. It talks about learning a new language. It talks about being new. It talks about expectations. I work for a phenomenal library system, and they allowed me to get 25 of these. I partnered with Dyer Kelly Elementary School, and we dropped them off for a month along with an activity packet. Every single classroom in that school read this book, talked about language, culture, and diversity. A month later, I did class-to-class visits. There was about 360 kids. Just the comments I got out of that room, it changed the way I view outreach. We talked about language, and one of the tools I used is raise your hand if you can say hello in a different language. And so in one class of 22, we had 8 different languages. The diversity was phenomenal for me. And what was interesting is when we talked about culture, when we first began, they were using the words like them or they when they were talking about those in their classroom. Towards the end, it had changed to we. And I picked up on that, and for me, that was so significant. So that was big. That's my big woohoo. Check it out,
Absolutely.
it's cool.
Yes, and we're hoping to do that, more projects like that in the future. But for results that we have right now, since December of last year through the time that Arcade was closed for renovations for 6 months, we were able to do even more outreach than we had done before, and we reached approximately 2,600 new arrivals through just about weekly, if not daily, class visits, community events. The library became one of the frontline support systems and is seen in a very different light through our partner organizations now. We do regular outreach visits with resettlement agencies. We have firmed up the contacts that we already have. We are seen as stakeholders with our local school districts and individual classroom teachers. It's been absolutely phenomenal. We were also, through a grant, after we saw the demonstrated need, we were able to fund 2 teen interns over the summer. One was from Iraq and spoke Arabic. Another was from Afghanistan, spoke Dari Pashto, among other languages. And through not only their work with outreach and spreading the word about the summer reading program and interacting with people in culturally and linguistically competent ways, more than competent, then their very presence showed to these new arrivals, we see you, and there are places at the library for you.
And I'm going to jump in. Some of the teens that Molly and I interviewed spoke 5 or 6 different languages, and so the teens alone in Sacramento, they are amazing.
Yes.
That was something else to experience. Like
Yeah.
a 15-year-old, 5 or 6 different languages, learning Spanish.
You know, sure, why not? And with that summer reading program tie-in, we have also developed our world languages collections to meet the needs that people have been expressing to us. Through generous support from the library, we were able to fund the purchase of a number of multilingual books, mainly in Farsi, Dari, Pashto, Arabic, and Urdu. And what was that class visit you went on and they were gone? Like, you did like two
So
class
we
visits?
do group summer reading where we can go out and visit whole groups during the summer, and it was one of those situations. I brought in the bilingual books. We weren't sure how they were going to go. The first 2 classrooms, they were absolutely gone. And so it just showed that not only were they needed, but afterwards I had the director, it was a preschool. She came into the library, her and 2 of her teachers got teacher cards, and she also connected with our world language collection. So it really connected with that school.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we've seen phenomenal results because we've had the support to help make them so.
Mm-hmm.
And to tie everything up, we just wanted to highlight some of the library resources that these new arrivals have expressed to us are the most helpful. First, of course, technology help and free computers and Wi-Fi through their library cards. With the computer help, actually, at the Arcade Library, we now have a volunteer who speaks 4 languages, has a master's in computer science, who offers computer help on Saturday mornings. So that has gone a long way because, again, we meet people from all walks of life with varying understandings of computer literacy and the way that they function, especially here in the United States, using smartphones, especially with women and children, we found. So that's been a huge help. Our adult literacy department and adult conversation groups and family conversation groups have also been successful across several branches. And the library as a place, as a stable place for people to help build roots in their community, and our investment in that community. With our multilingual staff, we now have staff who speak 4 different languages. We have, of course, the collections and the library as a place where you're not pressured to act a certain way. You're not pressured to do anything other than be and learn and request information without judgment.
We're super inclusive.
Yes. Yes.
And we also have 2 new databases, Mango Language and Pronunciator. And we hope to take those in the near future to actually push out further into classrooms and to connect families with language learning, especially Mango languages, because it actually has a child component, which is really cool.
So we've gone a long way, and we've connected with our communities in ways that we hadn't really thought possible, but we're really glad that everyone has been so willing to collaborate with us and willing to share their stories and their insights, and we're just looking forward to what comes next. So thanks very much.
Thank you for all the support.
Yes, thank you very much. Without that, we wouldn't have been able to do this.
Well, thank you both, and certainly all of your colleagues, and thank you for sharing. It sounds like made tremendous inroads, and certainly inviting folks to the library, but to helping them to, I think, get foundations for their lives here in our community and for their hopefully successful daily lives and outcomes. And again, I just the work that you do there is very important, and obviously you have a real flair for it. It's evident in your storytelling here today about what you've done over the last few months. So great.
Thank you very much.
We have a lot of folks, so stand by. We've got several members who either questions or comments. So actually we're up to 5 right now. Eric Guerra, Stephanie Nguyen, Sue Frost, Darren Soon, and Larry Carr, in that order. So stand by. So Mr. Guerra.
Great. Well, thank
Yeah.
They have questions?
Leave your hat. Come to. Yeah.
Oh, bring on the question.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Well, first of all, the thank you goes to you guys. I mean, that's just the great work. I'll tell you from my own personal experience, when we got to the United States, the library was the place where we learned English, and many times it became a place also for the only type of daycare around the other place. So for us to have a safe place to be where we could consistently learn in multiple ways, but the interesting thing, and we had this conversation at an earlier board meeting during the Air Quality Management District meeting, was how do we get information out to communities? And many of the communities who don't follow the traditional media or whatnot, get their information either from their kids or in places like the public library. And I remember educating my parents at that time about the things that I would run into the library. So that's where I signed up for selective service. And then later on in the future, first place I ever had any questions would go to the library. So the fact that we're doing this and being proactive and reaching out to our new arrivals is critical. I know it helped my family directly. I wanted to ask if you have been working at all with other folks like the Sacramento Food Bank and Legal Services and Opening Doors and CRLA Foundation at all in your efforts when you're working with our new arrivals?
Yes, absolutely.
Good.
We've formed relationships with just about every resettlement agency. I think there are 5 because Lau Community Services just got on board. But with Opening Doors, with World Relief, we actually do every 2 weeks. The Arcade Library, we do library tours as part of their cultural orientation classes. With Opening Doors, we've had meetings with them and with the Food Bank on how we can collaborate and bring especially English language learning opportunities to the library, because oftentimes what these groups are looking for is space. Right now we're hosting a group of class on Wednesdays and Fridays for 2.5 hours that's run through the school district because their waiting list was pages and pages long and they were just running out of space. And we were able to help meet that need, and since it's open to the public, we can refer people to them as well. So yes, it's been absolutely critical, and they help get out the word about our programs as well.
And if I can add to that, Molly and I, doing story times as youth services librarians, we had to learn how to communicate across that language barrier, and it wasn't just language, it was cultural. And so we've learned what works best, and next week actually we meet with the Sacramento Food Bank to talk about how we did story times with kids who have those language barriers. So we hope to really collaborate and share what works best.
Good. Okay. Well, the maybe, and if you are in partnership with them, I know they're all working with CRLA Foundation as well to provide legal services and education. That's the other component. And the City of Sacramento just did a contract with that Fuel Network, that network of providers, to get education out about legal services. So I just want to make sure that we're connecting the dots for all of those folks coming in, so that they know where they can access other services, not only just their legal services, but anything else that our different jurisdictions in the region have to offer. And I think the libraries are a key point. So, and we can connect you with any of our city staffers, but Marcus Tang at CRLA Foundation and Arturo Sanchez in the City of Sacramento are doing our part with the new arrivals. And maybe this is something we can overlay as well.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Guerra. Stephanie.
Director Guerra said a lot of what I was going to ask. The 5 refugee resettlement agencies are a great place to start. You know, years ago when the Vietnamese community were the first refugees here, they resettled us in South Sacramento. Then it was the Hmong community, which was also in South Sacramento. Then it became the Russian and former Soviet Union communities, which they resettled in the city of Citrus Heights. I have an office in Citrus Heights that provides services and resources just to the refugee community. So I understand exactly what you're seeing in here and the struggles and the barriers. And this is wonderful. I love what I'm hearing and what you're doing. Now, a lot of the new resettlement agencies are resettling the new refugees in the Arden Arcade. However, a lot of them are also going into the Rancho Cordova area, and they're starting to come out into the City of Elk Grove. So I really look forward to seeing this expanded. I love the fact that you're working with young people, and I know Rivka and I, we talked about this many months ago about the refugee community and how a library can be such a great resource, and I'm so happy and thrilled to see this take off. So thank you so much for this.
Yes, we've noticed in the North Highlands area as well, they're starting to resettle there as well. But we've had contact with the Rancho Cordova Library, with one of their library assistants in particular, and as well as their 2 youth services librarians, to explain what has worked for us and what they might do, what services they might focus on when they perform outreach and best practices and that sort of thing. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, Director Frost and Director Soon.
I think most of my questions were answered, but I just wanted to say I can't imagine what it would be like to have to leave your home country because of war or have your life threatened. And I think it's wonderful that you're helping them transition, and you're doing such a great job at it. My question related to are you connecting with these folks through the county, or it sounds like you're doing it through the resource centers? Where are most of these refugees ending up? Do they decide where they go, or do we tell them where they have to go once they get here? And how did you connect with them? And do you find that most of them are interested in engaging in what you're offering through the library, or are there some who are just not sure they want to get involved?
Yeah, there are a couple of different ways that we've come at it. If they're refugees, they do not get to choose where they're resettled. That is up to the agency that's resettling them, such as the UN, something along those lines. If they're special immigrant visa holders, which are people who worked with U.S. forces in Afghanistan and Iraq primarily, then they get to choose where they are resettled. We have found that a lot of them most of them are, if not all of them, are very receptive to what we're offering, particularly in terms of socialization. Right now we have a series that we're running through a California Humanities grant called Immigrant Families Connect, because one of the things that we have found that especially the women who come over struggle with is the chance to connect with other families. A lot of times they don't have their driver's license, they don't know the area, they don't know the language, so it's hard to connect with other families, and they end up feeling very isolated and depressed. So we have designed our programs with that in mind, with the chance that it's during daylight hours, so it's easy to walk. Most of the new arrivals we've encountered walk from their homes to the library. We've also gone out to the actual apartment complexes through our partnerships with like the Birth and Beyond Center next door to Arcade, who have formed relationships with the apartment managers and allow us to come out and share our resources. It does make a big difference when we have materials in their languages, and when we had the 2 teen interns, it was just absolutely phenomenal because they could explain library library services more completely and in a way that was both culturally and linguistically that made sense. So we found that most people are very receptive once they understand what we offer. There still are those linguistic and cultural components that we have yet to fully meet, but through our partnerships and through what we've been able to accomplish in the last 6 months, we have a lot better idea of how to make that continue to happen.
So your program is throughout the entire library system. You're visiting all the libraries with this program, or just
Not
those
yet.
specific to just certain ones?
Not yet. We've been focusing primarily on Arcade, but we've also been working with the Carmichael, Arden, Dimmock, and Rancho Cordova libraries because they've seen the biggest impact. But as Ms. Nguyen just said, there are more areas all the time that are being impacted. We see no indication that this will be slowing down anytime soon, and certainly depending on where people are at when they arrive, it might take them some time, several months, if not a year, to discover what we have and be in a place to accept what we have to offer if they're interested.
Great, thanks. Good job.
Thank you.
Great. Dr. Soon, Dr. Carr, and Dr. Hernandez.
Well, a lot of my questions were answered already too, so I just want to convey my thanks and appreciation and excellent work. I would ask that, do you see, or where do you see yourself going from here? Is there, as you've gone through this program, do you see, what do you see on the horizon, where you could go next?
Where to go next? I think making those connections at the apartment complexes goes a long way because you get one-on-one direct contact with people. They can put a face to your organization. It's not just sending flyers out and hoping that people will pass them out. You're making those human-to-human connections. I myself am learning Dari and Pashto, maybe somewhere down the road Arabic. And I hope with that we can continue to bridge those divides and continue to show them that there are multiple places for them at the library. I hope to continue to invest in our young people. Again, having those interns was just absolutely phenomenal. We have so many teen volunteers who speak different languages and who have been instrumental in helping us look at our collections, look at our populations, tell us if they're willing what their experiences have been and what they're willing to share. And I just hope to make more direct connections. Right now we've been working a lot with partner agencies, and that's been phenomenal. We wouldn't have been able to accomplish any of this without them, and I hope that we can continue to make even greater direct strides through directly connecting with even more people. I think that's the next wave.
Fantastic, thank you.
Okay, Dr. Carr.
Thank you. My question is along the same lines, but not specifically only this program. What percentage of our budget is directed towards letting people know about the services that are provided by the library? Because this is not your grandfather's library anymore.
That's a really good question. We do have a communications department that has a staff of 6 people. Six, Amy? Yes. Yes. And we publish, as they were saying, we publish a lot of information in other languages, the core languages that we know help, but in terms of the percentage of our budget, it's pretty small. It's less than 1%.
Less than 1%.
And we're not able to advertise. We do a lot with social media. We do a lot of outreach. Mm-hmm. This is exactly what our youth services librarians have to be doing. They have to be out in the community, which is why we need more youth services librarians, because they, pound for pound we get, I think for every $1 we spend on them, I'll bet we get $10 back in value, because they're sharing the word of what we're doing and getting, helping people gain understanding, because we are unique when you come from another culture. Mm-hmm. Not everybody has the public library experience, but
one of the things we get out of serving on many of these JPAs and other committees and boards is that we get a first-hand look at how much work is being done and how many good things are being provided by the city, the county, all of the organizations. But my sense is it's not getting too far past us, and that nonprofits as a whole don't put a lot of energy into not promoting themselves, but informing the public of what's available. And the reason generally is because people want to put the energy into actually providing the services. And I think we make a mistake by not really investing in making sure people are informed about the services that we can provide. And I think it's a critical function. You can't do very much unless people really know. And very few organizations do it. I hope we can take a look at our budget next budget time, budget season, and see if we can allocate more to actually letting people know.
Oh, I know there's at least one person sitting in the room who's very happy to hear that.
Where is she? Back here?
And we do. We're very strategic about how we get the word out, and yet we're competing with a whole lot of other organizations and folks. And the reality is we don't have a huge advertising promotions budget. Oh, good. Amy Calhoun.
Hello, everybody. I'm the Marketing and Communications Manager at Sacramento Public Library.
Your smile just grew quite a bit from
I love the way you think, and I want to say I'm relatively new, and almost everyone on my team has been at the library less than 2 years, and we've made a lot of great changes, and I'd love to come back and present to you some of the amazing plans we have, because that is my goal, is for everyone in Sacramento to realize that the library is the best investment a community can make in itself. And it's about connecting people with those services that we know people don't know about, relevant, important, meaningful services, and we want to connect people with those. So again, we are not all about just running ads that say me, me, me. We want to build up our reputation in the community so that people are know us and are saying, you know, this library is essential in our community. So.
And maybe we as a board should put a marker out there and perhaps develop a policy that said maybe 75% of the people in our service area will be aware of the critical services that the library provides, not just lending books, but all of the other things that you're doing.
Coding for
kids. And that's a matter of board discussion, I think.
Sure. New arrivals.
Can we agendize that, maybe?
I think we can, sure.
We can make that a goal.
Do it.
Thank
We're
you
with
so
you,
much.
Amy.
Strategic plan is coming.
Good. Okay. Thank you, Amy. Okay. All right. Next, Director Hernandez and Director Wu.
I just want to, on behalf of, as a board member of the San Juan Unified School District, express our extreme thanks for our partnership with you, and we look forward to doing everything we can to continue what we're very excited about. And you can imagine we are just scratching the surface with this. So it is a extreme challenge as a district with so many different cultures and languages that we don't usually have teachers that speak that type. So that's one of our challenges, but having you as a resource and a partnership, we look forward to continue with our relationship. And if you ever need any help as a liaison with the San Juan Unified School District, please let me know.
Yes, thank you.
You have been a tremendous support already.
Yes.
So thank
Yes.
you.
Great. Okay, Director Wu.
Thank you, Chair Natoli. So I want to thank you as well. And Molly and Vanessa, I heard you say the word interns, and I just wanted to let you know, and I let Rivka know as well, that Sacramento City Unified School District just recently put out an RFP where we're paying for interns if you guys will place them. So this is part of the Mayor's 1,000 Strong initiative, but we've decided that we're going to go ahead and try to push out interns as well that we're contributing to and we're paying for. So we put out an RFP. You're leaving, so let me know who I should forward the RFP information to, and I'll get it out right away.
Molly's going to do jumping jacks.
I think we'll do it to Christy. Yeah, because I made contact with Erica in the 1,000 Strong office and said, we'll take more, we just can't afford, we need somebody else to pay for them. This could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Thank you.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right. Well, Molly and Vanessa, you're a big hit here today. Certainly, what you bring the information and I think the summary of the great effort that's going on. Obviously, great suggestions from the dais up here. Many partners, and again, I think this board certainly embraces what you're doing. And sounds like just in today's conversation alone, we've made some tremendous headway to maybe assist in that regard. So. Anyway, thanks so much for your presentation. Rivka, anything else on this?
No, I just want to add my thanks. I knew you guys would rock, but kind of blew the roof off the house.
Rock and roll both. Okay, very good. All right, thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Okay, with that, then we have some other presentations, and thank Vice Chair Chenier for getting the meeting started. I apologize for being a couple minutes late here. So we have Friends of the Library report. We have our friends. Oh, okay. And there's our friends. How are you?
Hi, I'm Anita Scurry. I'm president of the Friends of the Sacramento Public Library. And we heard a lot of talk about partnerships in the last presentation. And what Ms. Beamer is handing out to you is the results of last year's partnership between our group and the library. With a program the library runs that we fund called Book First, where we distribute a book to first graders. For some of them, it's the only book that they're the first book that they have at home that they own. And last year we distributed over 8,000, almost 9,000 books to first graders. This year we raised a lot more money, and I thank those of you who contributed up here, and I know Ms. Budge did, for your contributions. And we will be able to, I think, distribute more like 11,000 to 14,000 books to first graders. So it's a wonderful partnership, and we're going to share the story of that partnership at the California Library Association on November 4th. Donna Zick and I will be presenting at the CLA convention in Riverside. So I just wanted to share that with you. Any questions?
No, that's awesome. 11,000 books, and the handout says 14,000 complimentary books.
We hope so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's an estimate because you'll see at the bottom of that page that I handed out, it says thank you to a particular church, because they, one of our volunteers, who happens to be 85 years old and works at the Book Den, wrote a grant for her church, and they have funded, they've given us a check for $1,050 to go to Book First.
That's great.
So people like to give books to first graders. And we start with, last year it was a 70% and free or reduced lunch level. I'm sure it'll be lower this year.
That's great. Well, again, thanks so much to our friends, certainly to you for presenting, but to St. Michael's and all the other folks, again, who've contributed in so many ways. That's just outstanding that you're able to do that number of books in any given year, and just in 2 years. So that's a cumulative number, so that you can take 8 and add 14 to it, so that's 22,000 books. Is that right?
It would be, yes. Yes.
Amazing. Okay, very good. Well, thanks again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Applaud you. Thank you very much. That's great. Okay, anything else on our Friends report? Any other comments? If not, we have the Foundation, but no report today from Foundation?
I don't.
Okay. Then we'll move through then to item 4, which is our Director's report. Rivka.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In addition to my written report, so speaking of media coverage, we've done really well recently, and I wanted to point out that our early learning specialist, Donna Zick, and K-12 specialist, Amanda Folk, were on Sac & Co. and actually did a story time last month, and that's the kind of publicity that we rely on. We rely on our good partners from the community. We've had a partnership with ABC 10 for about 5 years to produce a book list, 10 books to read, and they've been very good to us about making sure that they cover things. I was interviewed last night. They're covering my trip to Jordan, just a little teaser, and we're going to try to figure out how to do something like via Skype to talk about library services. So I'm really grateful to them for that. Also want to point out that tonight is the behind the scenes tour. Anita talked about the big day of giving, and donors who contributed $100 or more are invited to a special behind-the-scenes tour of what the library does, and we usually have a nice turnout of 30 to 40 people, plus some of our other corporate and community partners show up, and it's at 6:30 tonight. Come by earlier. People usually arrive at 6. We'll give you a snack and say hello if you have time. I also want to welcome an old new face. Thank you, Mr. Carr, for coming back. a young new face. A young new face back. It's great to see you here at the Authority Board meeting. And then just a couple of other things. We've been working diligently. Christy Ham and her team have been working we're going to get library cards into the hands of all students. It's our goal, and we're getting really close. And Sac City Unified is being great. They're a great partner. We hope to announce something soon. So that's coming up. And we've already had our first meeting with Sacramento County regarding the Voter Choice Act. All 28 libraries will be ballot drop-off sites, thus being 1/3 of all the ballot drop-off sites in the entire county. We'll have 10 voter service centers. We're very excited also, again, about the educational component of this. We have some ideas on how to make sure the public knows that we're moving to vote by mail. And as it turned out, as you know, the legislation identified 14 counties around the state. So far, only 4 have committed to really going all in on this, and Sacramento County is the largest county, so I believe we will set the standard for how to do this right and well, and the library's right there at the table. And I loved that I got a call from the mayor's office yesterday saying, we want to talk about this, and we said, oh, we've already had a meeting, we figured it all out. So, and we haven't, but we're very excited about what's going on. Also want to introduce another new face. We have a new authority council. Jennifer V. Gore is joining us. She just joined the city last week, so be kind to her. But I will say that she's already hit the ground running, and we solved several issues today. But that means that we're losing our attorney of longstanding, Michael Voss. And it's really hard. I'd like to keep both of them because I think they would provide good balance. But we asked Mike to come, and we have a little something for him.
Okay.
So if you would come to
Michael, come on down.
So all of you folks on City Council know.
It's your first grade book, Michael.
Yeah, it's a book. So you know that Mike is like the world's expert on water policy.
That's Jim Pfeiffer.
Okay. Anyway, so we just wanted to thank Mike by giving him this wonderful book, Water More or Less. It's a great book on water policy. And of course, we have a proclamation. Do you mind if I read it?
Oh, go ahead. No, yeah, absolutely.
A proclamation thanking Michael Voss at the conclusion of his service as Authority Counsel for Sacramento Public Library Authority. Whereas Michael Voss is concluding his service to the Sacramento Public Library Authority and having a thirst for adventure will solve all of the area's issues involving water policy. I'm making that up. And whereas Michael Voss, during his service as Authority Counsel, has provided thorough, courteous, civil, and thoughtful opinions. And whereas Michael Voss, during his service as Authority Counsel, helped the library immeasurably to improve policies, practices, and procedures, working tirelessly to help the library in its quest to be a model of good governance. And whereas Michael Voss, during his service as Authority Counsel, demonstrated extraordinary patience in dealing with the issues that are unique to libraries. We are very special snowflakes. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Sacramento Public Library Authority Board does hereby honor Michael Voss for his service to the Sacramento Public Library Authority and commends him for his outstanding service he's provided to the Library Authority, and herewith wishes him much success in his watery endeavors.
All right, thank you.
So I just want to thank Rivka and all of you for the opportunity to serve the library. It's been personally satisfying because I believe in the library as an institution, and professionally satisfying because, well, Rivka would often send me little notes. Bet you haven't seen this one before. Here's a new one for you. And I attribute some of that to just being a JPA in a very diverse county, but also to the dynamic, creative leadership of Rivka and her staff here at the library. So thank you all.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Michael. Before we go too far, Michael, we have at least one member of the authority wants to speak. Director Ashby?
You don't have to come back up, Mike, but I do want to take the opportunity to say I have a lot of opportunity to work with Mike over the years, and he's kind of one of those guys who, he just really works hard, no matter whether he's working on housing, which he's done in the past, or working for the city, or now working on water, which I know he shared with me is actually the area he's super interested in. But I never saw you, Mike, back down from a challenge on any of those other issues that we threw at you at the city or at this library authority or at SHRA or anywhere else that your path has taken you. And on a personal note, I know you've had challenges in your life, and even during that period of time when things were challenging, you still were this just tremendous advocate for Sacramento and for our city. And I've enjoyed having you on the library and feel a little bit of extra comfort knowing that we have a really great hand to help guide us there. And I'm very involved with water at the city, so the path continues for us. But I just want to thank you for everything you do for Sacramento. We don't get enough opportunities to thank people like this who are dedicating their whole life. His family waits up for him too if he's presenting at council, and his kids miss dinners with dad because he's helping us. So thanks, Mike. You're a really great asset to Sacramento.
Great. Thanks. Well said. Thanks again, Mike. Appreciate it. One more round of applause. Yeah, one more time, Michael. Get your picture taken. Did you get one at the podium with Rivka? Did you get a picture?
I don't know.
Oh. What?
You have to come back?
Did you want to take a picture with everybody?
Okay.
Okay, yeah, why don't we do that?
Oh, we're going to do it like this.
We'll have
Thank you.
Hey, we got a suggestion here. We're not going to get away without another picture, Michael and Rivka. So we'll all stand up and you say, oh, yeah. There you go. How's that? You want to come up here and join us? Why don't you come around? Come around. Yeah. We can all come up.
Awesome. We're all going down now?
No, we'll do it here.
Let's do it.
Get him up here.
We're going to stand behind the chairs.
We're sit behind the chairs, though, I think. Get a group picture here.
You need to figure out what we're going to do. How to take this picture.
Thank you.
Come on, Saul.
It's everybody going down.
I'm going to frame this picture and put it in my house.
Move the chairs out of the way. Move the chairs out of the way. Move the chairs.
I love this.
Dad's ready?
Quick.
Rivka, are we any kind of semblance of a group?
Well, you almost look like you're a team there.
Okay.
All right, ready? I'll take a couple. One more, everyone nice eyes, smile. Thank you.
Perfect. Make sure to go over here.
Thank you, Darren.
Thank you. And if you don't like any of your former directors, you can Photoshop them out of the photo, so and still have the picture on your wall. So, okay, Michael, thank you very much, and thanks, Angelique, for your comments. Okay, let's go to our additional information items. I don't know if there's any presentations, any of those that we were expecting. They're in your packet. I have no one signed up to speak on any of the information items, and so unless there's any questions, and if not, then we'll move to our consent calendar. Item 6.1, 2, 3, and 4.
I'll move it.
Okay. All right, I have a motion by Director Schneer, seconded by Director Carr.
Before you
Yes.
vote, I would like to clarify one thing, if I could.
Sure.
On item 6.4, the catalog interface with the Marmot Library Network, just really briefly.
Sure.
I think I wanted to provide a little context, especially for the newer board members, and that is we've had an ongoing relationship with Innovative Interfaces that's caused us some frustration. And one of the reasons for doing this particular initiative, moving to Marmot, is to help us diversify a little bit. But I think we were not as clear as we could have been with the board that there's the initial sort of commitment to them, which is what you're approving today, and there will be ongoing costs. And I think we did not provide as clear a picture of that as we could have. So I want to apologize for that, but I want to make sure that you all understand it's still going to, we think, save us money, and it's a much superior product. So we're very excited about that. But I wanted to make sure in full disclosure
Okay.
that I said that.
No, that's good. Well, thank you for that clarification.
And if
That's
Jennifer
important.
has any additional clarification?
Jennifer.
Oh, hi all. I just wanted to clarify, in the resolution, it states that that there's a fee, the implementation fee is $64,000. I think we should just clarify the resolution to say that it will include additional ongoing maintenance fees.
Okay, so that's, if you want that, incorporate that as part of the resolution that is before the board, so that's understood by our maker of motion, our seconder? Okay. All right. Very good. Any other comments on any other of the consent matters? I just wanted to call out, it's in the packet, but certainly looking at the donations and gifts just reported for the last quarter is pretty significant. Obviously, our friends of our library, but some other contributions as well. And I think that without that level of support, obviously the libraries would be able to do far less than we do. And again, just thank all of our friends, whether they be affiliated with their friends or others who've given to their family members and other bequeathments and gifts. So, okay. If there's nothing further, then we'll vote on consent. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Any recusals? Unanimous vote. All right. Brings us down to item 7, reports, ideas, questions from board members. I'll look to my right. Anyone? Ms. Budge? And you were punched up, too. Linda.
Actually, yeah. He's been monitoring my buttons for me.
Yeah.
So 2 exciting things are happening at the Rancho Cordova Library, coming up both on Saturday the 4th of November. First of all, it is the first anniversary of the initiation of the Korean language collection at the Rancho Cordova Library, and the local community has organized a celebration that includes a luncheon, and I know that Don and I got an invitation. And unfortunately, I can't attend, but the reason I can't attend is because that same day, we're also partnering with the library to have a conversation for Vietnam veterans. And because the Korean community got the library, we're doing it at the Rancho Cordova police station. But this came out of a goal of the library staff to get a grant from the American Library Association that would give them the rights to show Ken Burns' Vietnam series. And we decided that we would hold, as a part of the celebration of this, we would hold a conversation and do a panel discussion. And it's become even more meaningful because so many of the veterans are really upset at what was in those films, what they chose to portray, what they chose to leave out. So this is going to be a really important conversation, and we're doing it by being part of the commemorative partnership that the United States organized to take a 5-year look back at the Vietnam War. So we have a very multi-experienced panel that will answer questions, and then we'll have time for all the veterans who are in the audience or their families or other people who are interested in history to ask questions also. And we expect it'll be 2 hours, and I need to talk to Director Wynn because I came up with a hole in my panel today.
So what are you doing on the 4th?
But just to let you all know that there's always exciting things going on at the Rancho Cordova Library.
The place and time again for that session?
2 to 4 at the Rancho Cordova Police Station at 2897 Kilgore Road.
Very good. Thanks, Linda. Okay, any other announcements? If not, then that brings us down to our adjournment. Our next meeting will be the last meeting of the calendar year, December 6th. And it'll be here in these chambers again, same time. And we certainly want to wish you a safe journey, our ambassador to faraway places. And we look forward to, I guess not postcards this day and age, I guess it's posts on Facebook or something like that, right? Yeah. Okay. How will you know? I won't. I'll have to hear when she gets back. There you go. I know.
Thank you.
All right. With that, then we will adjourn again. Welcome, Jennifer, and thank you so much. And we'll see you next month.